Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're looking at something, well, a bit different in the generative AI space. It's the official website for the Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide.
Right. And what makes it stand out, I think, isn't just that it's a website for a guide, it's how it was apparently built.
Exactly. This whole idea of prompt-first development, it's not just a resource, it's sort of a live demo of the techniques in the guide.
Precisely. It's claiming to be an output of the methodology itself.
Which makes it pretty relevant for, our audience, AI practitioners, prompt engineers, maybe folks who aren't developers but are seriously exploring Gen AI.
And obviously, for anyone who's actually reading the guide, this seems like a very practical companion piece.
So our goal today is really to unpack this prompt-first idea by looking closely at the website, how it's structured, the content, and maybe what it suggests for building AI tools going forward.
Agreed. What does this approach actually look like in practice? That's the key question.
My first look at the site, it felt very intentional, minimalist, focused, lean. It really emphasizes structure and clarity, which seems to align with the guide's whole philosophy.
That makes sense. And then there's that phrase you mentioned, 100% vibe coded.
Yeah, that definitely caught my eye. We need to figure out what that actually means in technical terms, or perhaps non-technical terms.
Let's start with the structure. It's a multi-page site, not just a single landing page.
Right. The sections seem to map directly onto the guide's content, or at least its main themes. You've got home, about the guide,
who it's for, which clarifies the audience. Then you get into the more practical stuff like templates, advanced techniques.
And that dedicated vibe coding section we just mentioned, plus sections for podcasts, an interactive cheat sheet, and the usual resources and privacy.
The navigation between these seems pretty straightforward, consistent across the pages. Feels like they really thought about the user journey.
Yeah, it doesn't feel complex. It seems designed so you can jump into, say, the templates if you need something practical right away.
Or you could start with the About section to understand the underlying principles first. Each part seems useful on its own.
But together they create this richer learning environment.
Exactly. It supports different ways of engaging with the material.
Okay, let's talk content. The source material, Release 8.0 of the guide, is apparently directly reflected here. Key themes pop out immediately.
Like prompt strategy and composition. The fundamentals of how to actually build a good prompt.
Can't skip that. And then prompt patterns and output structuring. That's crucial, isn't it? Getting the AI to give you the output in the format you actually need.
Absolutely critical for any kind of practical application or integration. You need predictable, structured output.
And they also highlight audience awareness and role-based prompting. So thinking about who the AI is talking to or what persona it should adopt.
Which, again, points to the practical side of things. It's not just about getting an answer, but the right answer for the context.
But back to this vibe coding. This seems central. The site itself is positioned as the example.
Right. The idea, as laid out in the guide, is that people, maybe non-programmers specifically, can build AI tools just by iterating on prompts, prompt-first development.
So the website isn't just talking about this method.
It is the method, or at least it's presented as such, built entirely through prompt iteration, apparently without traditional coding frameworks or boilerplate code.
That's a pretty bold claim. It really changes the game if it holds up, especially for accessibility.
It certainly challenges the standard web development process, and they seem to back this up with examples throughout the site too.
Yeah, showing things like role-based prompts in action or advanced formatting. It connects the theory from the guide directly to practical examples you can see right there.
Making it tangible. You see the concept, then you see an instance of it.
Okay, let's shift to features and functionality. The prompt template library sounds immediately useful.
And categorized too. Productivity, research, creativity. That helps users find a relevant starting point quickly.
Instead of just a huge list of prompts, it guides the user.
Right, lowers the barrier to getting started and experimenting.
And this interactive cheat sheet app. That sounds more sophisticated than just a static PDF. Editable notes, sliders to break down prompt parts.
Yeah, that sounds quite innovative. Visualizing the components of a prompt and how they fit together, letting you play with it. That's a powerful learning tool.
It becomes active learning, not just passive reading. You interact with the concepts.
Exactly. Helps build that deeper understanding of prompt structure.
Then there's the podcast hub. Summaries, links, transcripts. That's quite comprehensive.
Caters to different learning styles, doesn't it? Listen, read the summary, or dive into the full transcript for details.
Providing transcripts is always a good move for accessibility and for referencing specifics later.
Agreed. And the summaries help you quickly decide if an episode is relevant to what you're looking for right now.
The source also mentions built-in educational flows, suggesting that content is deliberately broken down into short, engaging chunks.
Which aligns with how people tend to learn online, right? Bite-sized information is often more digestible than long, dense pages.
So a conscious design choice for online learning patterns.
Seems like it. It suggests a focus on pedagogy, not just information dumping.
And looping back to the core claim, 100% vibe coded, no traditional frameworks. This positions the whole website as, essentially, a case study.
It really does. It's a proof of concept. Can you build a functional, useful web presence primarily through prompting? They seem to be saying, yes, look.
Which, if true, has pretty big implications for who can build AI tools and how.
Definitely opens doors for subject matter experts who aren't necessarily coders.
Okay, let's touch on the user experience. Described as lightweight, frictionless, optimized for quick learning. That matches my impression.
And no sign-ins or downloads required, right? Just access the tools, the templates, the info straight away.
Yeah, very low barrier to entry. Encourages you to just click around and explore.
That frictionless aspect is key for engagement.
They also talk about a high signal-to-noise ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Simple layout, color coding, clean typography, responsive design, all aimed at clarity.
Minimizing distractions. Keeping the focus squarely on the content and the learning. Especially important with complex topics, you don't want cognitive overload from a messy interface.
It respects the user's time and attention, seems designed by learners for learners.
That's the impression, yeah. Every element seems geared towards understanding and retention.
So wrapping up, it feels like this generative AI professional prompt engineering website is, well, more than just a companion site.
Much more. It's an embodiment, a practical demonstration of that core prompt-first development idea.
It offers direct value to guide readers, sure, but also acts as inspiration for people exploring Gen AI.
And maybe concrete proof, or at least a strong argument, for this whole prompt-based development approach.
For anyone wanting to check it out directly, the book is at leanpub.com/Gen AI prompting guide.
And the website itself is at gedttome.github.io, GEAI. We'll put those links in the description, of course.
Okay, so final thought then. This idea of vibe coding, of prompt-first development.
Well, it leads to a provocative question for our expert audience, doesn't it? If this approach is viable, even partially, what does it mean for the future of software development?
Could we see more domain experts, people without deep coding backgrounds, building sophisticated, specialized AI tools for their own fields?
What new kinds of innovation might that unlock? It's definitely a potential paradigm shift worth thinking about.